All right, folks, it's the 23rd of November, and that today it's Sunday afternoon, and we're going to be talking about views. And I'd like to thank Karwan for posting a bit about something that Bhikkhu Buddhadasa said. Now, we can incorporate a lot of stuff under this topic of views, and that we can say then that the views are like a worldview, a way of looking at the world, but it's not one. It's basically the sum total of who we are is our views, and that Bhikkhu Buddhadasa calls these views our prison. Why? Because in fact it defines for us who our personality is. But the marvelous quality is about the Dhamma is that everything can change, that our personality is not fixed, even though we work really hard to keep it fixed. It's not fixed, and that we can, with some dedication and some right effort, we can change our views. Now, let me stop for a second. Ivan, what happened to Aunt Susie? She's in a diaper.
Yeah. She's taking a rest.
I had the view that she was riding the back of a motorbike. And that was
Yeah.
a view.
Yeah, that's a view.
Okay. We develop our views from early childhood. Now, there's two, let us say, basic views that we all take on, and that the two basic views would be nihilism and eternalism. Now, nihilism means that we have to do without, and we're not good enough. Things are not good enough, and we need help, except that there is no help. And then there is the eternalist view, which means that there is basically things keep going on according to some doctrine or some plan, some sky daddy, some eternalist. It keeps going on and on and on. And both of these views fit within what the context of the moment, and both of these views are essentially wrong every time. The Buddha talks about these in Sutta number 117, where he talks about nihilism is a wrong view and that eternalism is an ordinary right view. Now, at its extremes, eternalism is what allows human society to actually exist, because we have some sort of hierarchy, we have some sort of set of rules, etc., like that, to where if a society is nihilist, it's going to destroy itself. So that's the difference between ordinary right view and wrong view, is that wrong view will actually destroy a society. And you can see that in politics, that nihilism is what causes war, no cooperation, and that eternalism is what causes friendship, cooperation, global trading, and all of that kind of stuff, which is then the major two views of nihilism and eternalism. Now, we develop these views both on our own and also due to input. But the important point is that we develop these views when we're very young. And it's really then they get set in. And that an example of that is that when I was 3.5 years old, I wanted to go home. My mom had to stay at church. And so that conflict between us gave rise to me having the idea that she doesn't care about me and I'm going to have to go do it all on my own. And that has guided me basically throughout my life, sometimes to great benefit and sometimes to great trouble. Other people become quite dependent upon their parents and stay dependent upon them emotionally and psychologically. And then when the parent dies, they have a lot of grief because it's mostly what they are, because they're dependent. But if you're completely independent of your parents when the parents die, it's a whole lot easier to deal with because of your own internal views. Now, Bhikkhu Buddhadasa actually tells the story of Adam and Eve, where that's actually a story about views. Now, the Christians, they like all the magic. They like the talking snakes, and they like the fruit, and they like the prohibitive injunction of if God didn't want them to have the knowledge of good and evil, he wouldn't have put the tree in the forest anyway. But all of that kind of, let us say, literalism is not what the story about. It's not a tree with fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, that the fruit is in fact like the fruit of our actions, in the sense that, fruit of the loom, fruit of the groin, fruit of your labors, and fruit of your views. And we have to eat the fruit of our views. We have to eat the fruit of our actions. And so what that story is about is that Adam and Eve were in paradise until they started judging the place good or bad. And when we start saying, oh, this is good, we're in paradise now, but this is bad, and that's bad over there. And by claiming some things as good and some things as bad, we throw ourselves out of paradise. They weren't cast out, they walked out. It wasn't God that punished them, they punished themselves. And we do the same thing when we're children. We make up stories about how things are. Now, one aspect of our views is how things ought to be, how things should be. And this is often looked at from a moral perspective, that in fact, that's what the Bible kind of indicates. The story of Adam and Eve is actually a moral story about what's good and evil, good and bad. And in fact, our morality is all messed up because of that quality. That in fact we have this set of rules or standards about how things should be, and that when we then begin to confront that, it's really hard to change. But that it's really hard to change is nothing but a view itself. And that we're governed by these views to the point that in fact it creates a prison. That in fact who we are defined, our personality is defined by our view about ourselves and the world. And further, it's defined by our reaction to our own views and our own standards, our own morality. And our reaction to it, either going along or rebelling against it, is part of our view. So the world should be this way, but I don't like it that way. I want it to be some other way. This is the internal conflict that we all have. We have a conflict between our views about what we want and our views about how things should be. Now, The real point about this is that these views that we carry are old, ancient, rotting, don't work in the present moment, and that the solution then is a different kind of view, and that's where it goes from a noun, a view, something that's fixed, into a verb called, we use the word viewing, looking, investigating. This is what is the antidote to all of our views, except that the views are pretty well wired in. You could say that the views that we have are the wiring in our neurology. So we can change that, but it will revert back very easily. And so we have to practice over and over and over again in the sense of developing new neurological pathways. But every time we make a change to our view, we are, in fact, rewiring a little bit inside the mind so that we can change. Now, a lot of people already have the view, oh, I can't change. This is, in fact, highly supported by the religions. Christianity really highly supports that you can't change. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. You've got an original sin. You're broken and you cannot fix yourself. You need outside help. That's a view. And that this is what makes actual change so difficult, is because they have been taught that since childhood, that you can't change. This is actually fits in with the story about eternalism, in the sense that once you have set it up that way, that's how it's going to be. It's almost like firing pottery in a kiln. That when the mud is wet, when the cement is wet, you can form it, set it into a form, but once it's dried or once it's heated up, the shape is fixed. And this is how the mind um, kind of works also, except that it's not as, let us say, solidly fixed as a piece of pottery. It still has plasticity to it. And that this is what the Eightfold Noble Path is really all about. This is the real teaching of the Buddha, that in fact the Buddha wouldn't have any teaching if we were in fact fixed. But people will have the idea that I am fixed, and because they have that view, it's more difficult for them to change. But if you have the view of, well, I can change, then we have a place to go. I can change. There was a time, Agnes, for instance, for you, you had the view you couldn't change. But then slowly you begin to change that view into that you could change. And once you did change that view that you couldn't change, that's where the real change started to happen. So everybody has that. We all have that resistance to change, because we all have the view that I can't change. I need help on the outside. I've often used the word doubt for that, because we doubt that we can change, where in fact it's actually a view that we cannot change, just an idea. And what practice is all about is stopping with all of those views and start to form and shape our own minds into something superior to that. You could also go so far as to say that the hindrances themselves are views. For instance, doubt is just a view. I can't do it, or I'm not sure that it can be done, or I'm not sure about how to do it, etc., like this. So these are all of the various doubts that we have, and that we can get over those doubts. A restless mind is another form of view. Another word for it, in fact, Eric Berne uses the word hurry up. I caught that mental disease as a child. My dad, he was short, but he was a meter reader. But wherever he walked fast. And as a little kid, I couldn't keep up with my dad because he walked fast and he wanted me to stay up. And I had to run in order to stay up with him. And by doing so, I got the view that in order to succeed or in order to do whatever in life, I've got to hurry up. This actually caused quite a number of motorcycle accidents when I was a teenager and a little older, because I was always in a hurry. And that hurry has to do with anxiety. But it was just a view, and it was a view that I picked up because I was ignorant. I could have said to my dad, "I'll catch up with you later. I'm going to go at my own pace." But I didn't have that knowledge. I didn't have that understanding. I didn't have that view when I was 6 years old. And so I wound up being in a hurry for my whole life. I remember one time, especially humorous, that I was in algebra class. And the Mr. Horton, the algebra teacher, gave us a pop quiz. When we came into the room, he had already written it up on the board. And so when I saw it, I started doing that test and doing that test. And that then as soon as I got the test done, I ran and I put it up on his desk while everybody else was still struggling. And then, reviewing the questions on the board, I recognized that I had gotten one of them wrong. So I ran up to the desk, grabbed my paper. This is when all the hell broke loose in the class. They were all laughing at me. But I grabbed my test paper, came back to the desk, changed my answer, and put it back up there, and still got to be there first, as if who delivers their paper first gets the highest grade, not who gets all the test questions correct. So this is a worldview, and a lot of people are in a hurry. This is, in fact, what has referred to as anxiety, is that we're in a hurry. We've got restless, that in fact you could go so far as to say that it's so common that this is one of the 5 hindrances that the Buddha has. And if you look deeply, you'll begin to see that you too have that restlessness, that you're in a hurry, you've got to get it done. And we don't have the ability to relax until we practice relaxing and going against that hurry, telling ourselves everything is all right, everything is fine, no reason to hurry, no reason to be, let us say, trying to win a race that you're the only competitor in that race. Now, I see Agnes smiling. I think that she understands this, that she's been in this before. And so this is the prison that we create for ourselves based upon all of these ideas and these views that we have. And many people will then apply their views to their practice, which then kind of defeats their practice. An example would be the view of it's not good enough. That's a nihilistic position. And we all have a mixture of both eternalist and nihilist positions. And so they start to practice and they'll have a wholesome thought. Everything is okay. Everything is fine. I can relax. I feel good. And then the thought, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough yet. That's the view that we have is that things are not good enough yet. And we just had a thought previous to that everything was okay, everything was good enough. And now we have the thought that goes back to the old views of things are not good enough. So this is why practice is the way that it is. And so we can say then that how to practice is fairly easy. But when to practice, that becomes more difficult for people because that goes against our views. And so I'll introduce it this way. There are 3 times to practice. The first one is now. The second one is right now. And the third one is this present moment. Now is the time to practice. And a lot of people already have the view, well, this is all about meditation, and meditation is sitting on a hard cushion in a meditation hall. Oh, no, this is not meditation. This is the practice of cleaning up one's own mind. So wherever you are, whether you're driving your car or sitting on the toilet or wherever you are, now is the time to practice. And that the more opportunities you have of practicing to come out of all of these old views and come into the view, the brand new view of investigation. This is how it is right now. That's the only view that we really need, is how things are right now, because I'm looking at how things are right now without judging them based upon our old set of views and values. Just this. This is all there is. And pretty soon you begin to see, it's not a value judgment, we begin to see that everything right now is in fact good enough. Everything that we've ever feared doesn't exist right now. An example is, for some, especially women, oh, technology is hard. We start that when we're really little kids, and then we do some technology, and now we can do that technology, but the next technology is going to be hard. And we keep having that view that things are hard, when in fact we are proven right now that we can do it anyway. So we can now begin to say, all right, I'm going to add that extra factor. And that extra factor is I can do it. I can do this. This is actually in the Eightfold Noble Path under the form of Samma Sankappa. This is the yippee-ki-yay. This is the very top of the game. By practicing over and over again, I can be satisfied with the way things are. We begin then to develop that quality of successful. This goes directly against those old views of can't do it, hard to do, and all of those kind of views that we developed when we were children. Now, because we have the views that this is hard to do, I can't do it, it's not good enough. Yeah, there is joy, but it's not good enough joy. Yes, there is satisfaction, but I'm not satisfied with this satisfaction. I want more satisfaction, etc., like that. This is, in fact, the reason why we need to keep practicing over and over and over again with the idea that this is, in fact, good enough. Look, keep looking. But because we already have resistance to the practice, it's often a good idea to use views against ourselves And one of the views to use against ourselves is by using a timer. Okay, I'm going to practice right noble view at 4 o'clock every day. I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to do it every hour or something like that. And so we begin to develop views that buck the old views of it's not good enough, it's hard to do, or whatever like that. And so practice, practice, practice. And the best time for beginners to practice is when there are no other people around. Why? Because they're going to be spreading their views. And their views plus our views are almost overwhelming in our views. So we need to get away from their views so that we can work with our views and come out of our views and come into viewing, to come into looking at the way things actually are, rather than going with the old flow of this is how things are, this is how they should be, and come into to looking at it in the reality of this is how things are because I'm investigating it right now. This is how things really are, not the story that I told myself. So we need to develop that practice. A lot of you who have been on these videos a number of times, or they've seen them on YouTube, you'll see that this is a constant theme in these videos of practice, 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 practice. Why? Because we have to go against all of these old views that we have developed, and that a lot of the viewing that we've done is a view about who am I and who am I in relationship to the world out there. So getting alone and start changing who I am. Start changing, this is how things are when I'm alone, so that then we can begin to deal with the way things are when we're around other people. Because you can't stay away from all the people all the time, though it's certainly been tried. There's a number of stories. One of them is that when the Coptics started, which was very, very early form of Christianity, there was a monk who was quite famous, and they were pestering him a lot. And so what he did was he built a cabin up on the side of the hill, and he went to live there alone. What happened, though, was various students, they started building their own huts close to his so that they could be close to their teacher, and pretty soon there was a whole community. What did he do? He left. And he went even further into the hills, but this time he didn't tell anybody where he was going or where he was. And this made it very much more difficult for them to find him. But when they found him in a cave, guess what? The cave became overly populated again. So this is what happens within the context of what we find in Thailand is that we have the Watts, and that the teachers are often scarce. They're hard to find. Achan Po is now still the abbot, though I would call him abbot emeritus because he's 93. But he became the abbot of Wat Suan Mokkh sometime around 1969. And the one quality that was well known there, when anybody goes to Achan Po's kuti, he's not there. Where is Achan Po? Nobody knows where Achan Po is. He'll show up when he wants to show up, but he's not going to show up because you want him to show up. That's a major point about the way that Achan Po operated, was that if you wanted him, you couldn't find him. But maybe after a while, when you stop thinking about him and stop wanting him, he'll show up. This was a good training. We can't do that on the internet, but I can offer you and advise you that the best thing to do for a while is to stay away from other people so that you can really get your own mental foundation solid in the sense of being able to counteract all of these old views and be able to have a happy, wholesome, vibrantly alive view that everything is already okay. Once we get that, even if it's temporary, in fact, if you do get that attitude and you go into the world, not the first thing, but within a short period of time, that new worldview is going to be destroyed, and you're going to revert back to the old worldview that you've had all along. And so you need to get away from them again and go into solitude again and again, because every time you come back into the world, you're going to slowly pick up the worldview again. But guess what? The best part is that it may, in fact, be longer and longer period of time because you've been developing longer and longer. You have seen your brand new noble worldview being destroyed and taken back to the ordinary when you're around other ordinary people so many times that now it's beginning to get deep. And so we can begin then to hold that noble view when we're around other people. Now, the best thing that you can do when you're around people before they have polluted, in fact, when you're on your way to see someone, that's the time to practice. When you're going through the rituals of hello, how are you, that's the time to practice. And then when they start dumping their worldview on you, that's the time to practice. And then when they're really, really laying out their pity party, wow, now that's really the time to practice. So that we practice over and over and over again during the approach, during the first meeting, during the conversation, and then at the end of the conversation. That's the time to practice over and over and over again. And what are we practicing? To be here now, to not reverting back to our old views and our old ways of looking at the world, and always coming to it fresh. So, I see some smiles. Karwan, I've been watching you smile. What do you have to say about this?
Dhammarato, can you hear me?
Yes.
Dhammarato, something with views, what I don't understand is I see views, I see that I operate from views, but I can change the view, but then I will just take up a new. Even Dhamma for me in a way is just a new view.
Yeah, they do. They come in layers. Then, in fact, as you peel back the layers, you'll peel back to the more basic views that we had. That basically you could say that the older the view, then the more established it is. Down to the really basic views are the ones that are the last to go. And especially about the one of who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so the way to deal with these views is by, in fact, be practicing the Four Noble Truths, by being able to see the dukkha. Yesterday, we talked a lot about how pervasive the dukkha is. And today, we're talking about that the dukkha is actually embedded right into our views. And so if we can see this, the dukkha, through understanding that we have picked it up as a view, then we can see it more easily and be able to deal with it. I can see that I'm creating my own misery right now, and I can change that. And so as you peel off these layers, you'll get down to some of the most basic ones, and then we peel those away too, and always with the same practice, that right now everything is all right. Right now, who I am is completely unimportant. I'm having too much fun to try to figure out who am I. I'm having too much joy just being alive. And in fact, not even being, just viewing. So that we eventually get just down to no views in the sense of stored up, and all in just looking, just watching, just being here in the environment that we have now. Does that make sense for you, Karwan?
Yeah, it does make sense. And today, actually, I noticed something. I was talking with someone, and instead of practicing, I was talking about Dhamma. And that talking about Dhamma actually created dukkha instead of, if I was just truly practicing Dhamma in that moment, in moment, instead of talking about it, we would have a much nicer experience than me trying to make a point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, in fact, that's there is a sutta, number 22 in the Majjhima Nikaya, and it's called the simile of the snake, where the Buddha talks about, and we're not talking about one big time. We're talking about every moment, moment by moment, we can pick up the Dhamma the way that we would pick up a snake. And if you pick up the snake, or if you pick up the Dhamma incorrectly, it's going to bite you. That in fact, many people who practice meditation, they make their lives a whole lot worse because they're wanting something from the Dhamma. They're wanting jhana. They're wanting bliss. They're wanting and wanting and wanting. But we've already practiced well enough to know that wanting something that you don't have right now is in fact dukkha. And so in that case, if you want somebody to get the Dhamma, that Dhamma is going to bite you right then and there. If you want somebody to get the teachings of the Buddha, then the best way to do it is, everything is all right. Everything is fine. Not a worry in the world. That, in other words, the difference is between knowing the Dhamma and living the Dhamma right now. The now. And that's a good point, because now that you can see that, the next time you go trying to take your toilet stomper to force Dhamma down somebody's throat, you'll recognize that that's a lot of work. It's a lot of trouble, and it's not worth it. But in fact, about the best thing that you can do is to give them a smile, because they'll take a smile, maybe. Depends upon which cowboy movies they've been they've been watching. What are you smiling about? So maybe they'll even reject your smile. Are you making fun of me? Well, in a way, yeah. But I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of the views that people have. And so don't try to teach the Dharma to anybody who's not wanting it. I'm really glad that every week I have people who actually want the Dhamma, because that leaves it open so that I can give it, and everybody keeps getting good value from it. But occasionally, new people come and on the Discord, and they don't like the Dhamma at all. They want to prove, oh, I've had the 9th jhana, or whatever. And they don't like to be questioned about what that is. They're there bragging. They've got the view of, I'm the big kid on the block here. They're the bullies. And the bullies always bully you with what they can do. So when you're actually trying to teach somebody the Dhamma, recognize that the only way that you can do it is either by giving them a gift that they happily receive. The only other option is you're a bully. You're trying to ram down their throats something, and they're not taking it. So good luck with that. Watch carefully. Nobody's going to take the Dhamma because you want to give it. They'll only take it because at that moment they're open to it. And the best opening that you can have is by living the Dhamma, being happy. You're already okay. Come fly with me. So does that make sense then, Karwan? In other words, as I think Giannis was asking, go ahead, Karwan.
Go ahead. No, I said it make a lot of sense because in the moment I myself and I was not basically not living Dhamma in that moment.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So Giannis, I think, was asking about entanglement or getting involved with other people. The answer to that is don't get entangled. You can have relationships with other people, but your duty to the Dhamma is in fact to not become entangled with them, but just be happy with them. The Buddha actually talks about it in Sutta number 31 in the Dinga Nikaya about how a man should treat his wife and how a wife should treat her husband. Several things he says is that the husband should give his wife gifts, but the most important one is that you give the wife complete control over the house. Give her complete control so that she can do with the house whatever she wants. I've told the story about Mullah Nasruddin. That's is actually a book of jokes, Islamic jokes. Have you ever seen that book about Mullah Nasruddin, Karwan?
I have heard some of his jokes. Yeah, I've heard some of jokes about him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so that's actually, I would go so far as to say, that's your best of Islam. So I invite anybody to go read about Mullah Nasruddin. So one time, they came and asked him about, well, what do you do all day? And Nasruddin said, oh, I only take care of important things. And they says, oh, really? What does that mean? And he says, well, I let my wife take care of all of the unimportant stuff. She takes care of the house. She takes care of the kids. She chooses what car we buy. She manages the bank account. She chooses what wardrobe we wear, what house we live in. I leave her all of the unimportant stuff, even what job I do. And they says, oh, really? Well, if she does all of that, then what do you do that's so important? And he says, I sit here and enjoy nature. I contemplate how valuable my relationship to nature is, or in fact, I think he said God, but that's the same thing. All right. So begin to take care of only the important things because all of the unimportant things can be given to the wife. But the wife has duties to her husband too. And in fact, if she does her duties, then both of them will be free. And so I give you Mullah Nasruddin's that story. There's another one, by the way, just to compliment it, and that was as he was walking across the square, and he did it every lunchtime. He walked across the square to this particular restaurant. Well, one of the new cops in town, they had known him for a little bit, and they decided to do what cops do. And he walked up to Mullah Nasruddin and says, "Where are you going?" And Mullah Nasruddin, on his way to the restaurant, says, I don't know. I'm not sure. And the cop says, but you always go to that restaurant over there. Why are you giving me such a hard time? You know where you're going. And the mullah says, no, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just heading in that direction. And the cop got so angry, he busted him. He grabbed him by the collar and took him into the police station and set him down. And Mullah Nasruddin said, see, I told you. I didn't know where I was going. So that's actually, I mean, that's brilliant, because if you have that that view that I'm on my way to the restaurant, then that's an attachment. But if you have the idea, I don't know where I'm going, then any new thing that comes up, we can handle it easily. So, let me see who I can pick on next. Catherine, what do you think?
So I really liked, I think it was a really important distinction when I discovered that formal meditation isn't really a sort of separate thing from daily life. And that when I'm traveling on the bus or queuing at the bank or just interacting in the world, that's probably the most important place for investigation and challenging views and really observing yourself and your mind and how it reacts to what's going on. I didn't realize that at first.
That's because Western Buddhism has already these views about what is meditation, rather than dropping all of those views and just have a meditative mind right here, right now. That's all we've got. So, Amrit, what do you think?
Yes, Dhammarato, this is also a very revealing and useful teaching for me to keep practicing right here and right now. And that's the best time to practice.
That's
And
right. That's
practice
the
is
only
also very,
time we
very
can.
easy. Yes.
So, whenever you have the thought of, oh, I'll practice later, see that thought, say, aha, I caught you. And because I caught you and I see that, I'm practicing right now anyway, ha.
Yes, indeed.
So, Anmal, what do you have to say?
Yes, Dhammarato. Really appreciate the talk. I think the reminders to take the responsibility to make the change right now are really helpful. Sometimes we feel that the external circumstance is what we need to change, and it's good to just keep remembering, and also practice in seclusion to have that to look back to whenever you are in a situation, to remember to practice and change your own view rather than trying to change the world.
Good for you. Agnes, what you got?
I really enjoyed the talk. Also, what you said about the seclusion, that was helpful. I enjoyed seclusion a lot at the start when I started practicing, but also to come out and see what can I handle, kind of, in the world, and then to be free to get back to kind of it's it's like there's some rule or something in society, you should be doing this, you should be out there, but the Buddha's teaching actually helped me see that I can be secluded, happily secluded, and that was a big revelation for me to find out that that's where the joy comes from, and I can practice and I can learn things and investigate and all of these things. So to become happy and then bring that out to the world instead of, as I used to do, trying to get something from the world to be happy. So it's the
boundless
opposite.
joy to find at last. There is no happiness out there. You've got to develop that right inside. Then,
Exactly.
in fact,
that was a big thing for me at the start. Yeah, it was.
and you can see so many people have that view of, oh, I need something to be happy.
Yeah.
And then they wind up being unhappy because they're not going to get what they want from the outside world.
Yeah.
But boundless joy to find at last I'm not going to get what I want out there, but I can sure have it on the inside by practice right now. And now again.
Absolutely. I learned that from you. So thank you so much for everything. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Ivan, what you got, friend?
Yeah, I really appreciate the right noble view more and more. Like we talk a lot about views, and I had a conversation with Paul the other day. We were talking about how often people are slip sliding between wrong view and right ordinary view and right noble view. And yeah, I find it really liberating every time I come back to right noble view that there's only dissatisfaction and seeing the end of it, and it's really nice. Yeah, no views to pick
it
up.
really is. Congratulations, Ivan. You're doing well. Keep practicing. That it is possible that you could say, oh, well, I've got it all now. And then you can just revert back to the old views, recognizing that they're going to rot right back down to the way that they were 5 years ago. We have to keep practicing. But practice becomes a joy. Oh, wow. Everything really is good. So we keep practicing and keep practicing. And then right noble effort actually becomes energetic because we keep doing it unremittingly. We keep practicing over and over again.
Yeah, it is. Like you can really feel like a winner immediately, and it's really nice.
So, Mr. Ben.
Dhammarato, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, I'm on the scooter. Yeah, I think it's really great when we realise that we don't have to keep the old views that we weren't really conscious we were making in the first place, and that we can choose to create new views that are in line with reality, that are wholesome, that are beneficial, and then we can let go of all the trash that we used to hold on to.
Mm-hmm. And by doing so, you change who you are. I keep calling you
100%.
Mr. Ben because that's what the label is, but deep inside, I know you're Mr. Bean.
There's no Mr. Bean or Mr. Ben.
All right. I can get
say
that
what you
too.
want.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
thank you,
Paul.
Dhammarato.
Yes, good one. Oh, what do you have
really
to say?
really interesting to observe and look at how many old views we hold on to and operate from. Like, I think even the rites, rules, and rituals, that's just a bunch of views. Personality views, a bunch of views. Doubt is a bunch of views. Really interesting talk today. Thank you.
So, Rose, what do you have?
Yeah, really interesting talk. Thank you, Dhammarato.
That's just a view, by the way.
Sure.
So, Giannis, did we cover your topic?
Yeah, good talk. I would add that, like now with the internet, you can really see that seclusion is not just, having physical people around you, but I mean, not having them, because you can like stay at your home without meeting people physically, but if you're like online a lot, that's you can like get other people's views and still not be secluded. That's something I noticed. Yeah.
Generally online, whatever you're talking, you can watch. I'm watching actually a series of how Christianity is falling apart, but we can watch the news, we can watch short videos, and really all that we're ever going to do is be exposed to other people's views. It's only when we turn the cell phone off or set it down that we can begin to practice changing our own views.
Yeah,
But we need to
and
practice.
another thing I noticed is also, you know, if you don't want anything from another person, then you can also like be around them, but still be secluded, because yeah, like only when I want something from them, like maybe I'm feeling lonely and I want company, then like I notice I'll get their views, because yeah, like the wanting to fit in basically. Yeah. And that was also like, but like my question with entanglement was more about you know, if you're entangled with someone, it means I think that you don't want to make them feel bad if you leave.
Think of it like this
That's
then.
like,
In fact, that was a
yeah.
setup. The entanglement is really the entanglement of the views. You're entangled with someone because your views are entangled with theirs. Sometimes meeting them,
Right.
sometimes crossing them, sometimes you got a beautiful pattern, sometimes you've got a mess. But always that entanglement is the entanglement of views. If you start practicing being around others with not having any views, but rather just viewing, just watching what's happening, your whole life will change with other people. In fact, mostly it winds up being humorous jokes. That's basically what my relationship with Tam is that we just joke with each other.
Yes. But what if their view is, oh, if you leave, I'm gonna feel bad, and yeah, like
then
how
step
do
in
you
the
deal with
other
that?
room, and from the other room say, "You feel bad yet?" Ha! And then jump back into the room.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
When
Thank you.
people feel bad because of loss, that's normally referred to as an abandonment issue, where a tender infant is not getting the care that it thinks that it needs right here, right now. Now, real abandonment issues are because the infant was actually abandoned and left for long periods of time. And you can see that our culture actually sets that up by putting an infant in a bassinet, or worse still, in a separate room. To where in Thailand, they let the child sleep with the parents as long as the child wants to. Now, when last year, Kitty decided that she wanted to go sleep in another room, which we made for her downstairs, and now she's back sleeping in the bed with Mom. And she's going on 13 now. We'll see how long that lasts. But that means then that she feels safe and secure and comfortable. And that way she can go off and be with her friends and make good friends with other people without feeling, when the moment is over, that now things are going bad because she's feeling abandoned. So when you have a friend who nowadays has those, let us say, a twinge of an abandonment issue, then the way to handle it is joyfully. Tease them about it. Let them see that when they have to say goodbye, that they feel bad. And now you can say, okay, can you say goodbye happily? By the way, a very common occurrence with that is that newlyweds, especially the wife who has the abandonment issue, will start a fight just as it's time for a husband to go to work, because she would rather fight with him while he is there than miss him when he's gone. So you can take that piece of information and begin to play with it so that whoever misses you when you're about to leave, tease them about it. Get them to where I would rather, in fact, be alone than have to fight with you. Does that make sense for you?
I don't know, not really, like teasing them for it. I don't see how that can help them.
Well, you might want to change that view.
All right.
So, Krishna, you come very late. Call is about over.
Really?
You come here.
You started an hour ago?
Yes, we started at 4 o'clock like we do every time.
Oh, it's daylight saving. It was daylight saving.
Well, you changed your
Okay.
clock. We didn't.
Well, I had an English class an hour ago. Well,
Well, that's all right. Timo just joined just now, too. Hello, Timo. We're about to finish this off now.
Yeah, I thought so.
So, Sheep, I'm glad to see that you joined us early enough. Thank you,
Yeah.
friend.
Hello. I I was listening earlier and I was like, talking to myself that hey, what you think is right, and just trying to synthesis what you're talking about it.
Well, there is no right or wrong. In fact, rights and wrongs are all views.
Yeah, but it's right wheel still a wheel. Right wheel. Having a right wheel is still a wheel.
No, right view
No?
is not a view, it's viewing, it's looking. Rather than storing up an old view, it's a brand new one right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's looking to see how things are now as opposed to having a view that you developed long ago. So it's always
Uh-huh.
right now. That's probably one of the most quixotic aspects of the entire teaching of the Buddha is that it's all about right now. It's not about the past. So views are about the past, and viewing is about the present moment.
So you're saying right wheel is a viewing right now, right? Not just a view in the future or in the past.
That's right. Don't make up a new view right now based upon what we see right now, because right now is going to change.
Mm.
And so the job is that when that change happens, be there for it. Watch it. Because it's going to happen
Mhm.
when? It's going to happen some now. That's all you've got. You don't have a past. You don't have a future. All you've got is right now. So let's not have views from the past. Let's have viewing of what's happening right now.
Well, you know why I joined so late? Because I was playing games and then I realized, oh, it's a time for Dhammarato, and then I feel more horrible. So I go back to gaming.
Well, that's
Yeah.
your view. You've done something wrong. Oh, poor me. I'm a terrible person. And you feel bad. Can you see that so that you can change it? That's just another view.
Yeah, see that and change it. It's better than just keep feeling bad. Keep
Mm-hmm.
feeling bad. It doesn't get any better. But yeah, that is what the right will is. Like we see. I'm willing that if I keep feeling bad, I just gonna go back to games again and again. It's
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So you need to practice, and the time for you to practice is right then when that feeling came. Oh, I'm late for the call, and say, "Hot dog, I can join it now." But you chose to feel bad instead because
Yeah.
you weren't practicing right now. Then,
Yeah. True.
all right. So you start practicing right now. You've got a whole lot of them. You've got a whole string of nows. That's the only time you can practice is right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right now.
So does anybody else have any questions or any comments before we close? All right, Mikey.
Yes. I think I have question.
All right. Go ahead.
I mean, how we make a mistake, right? And
No, you don't
it,
make a mistake. That's a view.
that's a will.
That's the view. I've made a mistake. So instead of having the view I've made a mistake and feel bad, you can say, aha, I see the thought I've made a mistake. Let me be joyful.
Well, there is a rule that I see now that the rules say to me that how are we gonna make up for the mistake if we don't
You can't
feel
make up
bad
for the
for making a
mistakes
mistake?
because there was no mistake. You decided that you were making mistakes many, many years ago, and so that's just an old view.
Mm. Yeah, I feel really bad whole day today because what I say to you that you saw that I miss.
Well, I'm inviting you to be happy. Don't worry, be happy right bloody now.
Yeah, the rule just made it up long ago.
So, Mikey, why don't you take this thing home?
Happily. Yeah, nice to be viewing so many noble friends here on the call today. If you'd like to join these calls, check out the YouTube description and join the Dhamma Friends Discord. We like to hang out here and chat the Noble Dhamma. And for those of you that are on the call now, stay on, especially if you showed up late. We can keep chatting the Noble Dhamma, keep kind of encouraging each other to practice and, maybe sharing some thoughts on the practice, these sort of things. Yeah. If you haven't, go ahead and check out the OpenSanghaFoundation.org website. There are plenty of resources there, such as Sangha Map. We've also got books by Buddhadasa, also some blogs that have been written by some of the Dhamma friends here. And so go have fun with that. And also you can check out these talks on Spotify, iTunes, and other podcasting platforms. So yeah,
And
thank you
YouTube.
so much, friends, for being here today. And yeah, don't worry, be happy. Take care. Take it easy.
All right. So I'm going to leave now, friends, but you guys stay and have fun with your own Sangha. Make some friends here. Everybody needs noble friends.